The Cairo fire, the lie that is still taught in history books to this day. Black Saturday, January 26, 1952. In just a few hours, Cairo turned into a mass of fire and ash. More than 700 places in downtown were completely destroyed. Cinemas, hotels, international shops, and banks. This terrifying incident is what shook the throne of Egypt and paralyzed the country, hastening the end of the entire monarchy. If you open any history book, you will find a ready-made accusation, inherited and distributed among 3 scapegoats. The first scapegoat is King Farouk, who allegedly set Cairo on fire to impose martial law and get rid of the Wafd party. The second is the Muslim Brotherhood, who supposedly planned and executed it, or the Socialists and the Wafd party were blamed due to the demonstrations. Now, take this historical shock. All these parties are completely innocent of planning the fire. The Cairo fire was neither a popular chaos nor the result of angry demonstrations. This was an organized military operation with documents, maps, and a timer. The real perpetrator was foreign intelligence with the help of some treacherous elements infiltrating the Egyptian security agencies. Let's think logically from a criminal perspective and see how these scapegoats fall apart. The fire happened just one day after the legendary Battle of Ismailia, when Egyptian police officers refused to surrender their weapons to the British, resulting in 50 martyrs. The whole country was boiling with nationalism and demonstrations against the British. King Farouk, of course, would never burn his own capital, which he owns, and undermine his prestige in front of the world at a moment like this, for example. And the Wafd party was the one in charge of the government, so it's impossible for them to burn the chair they are sitting on. The Muslim Brotherhood and the Socialists didn't have the logistical organization. What does logistical mean?
So, what's the evidence? Or this terrifying logistical organization? So, what's the evidence that it's not chaos? The official investigation report, led by the President of the Senate and the strong advisor Mustafa Mare. This report exploded bombs proving that the fire started at the same minute and simultaneously in places very far from each other in the city center. Forensic lab reports found that the perpetrators used advanced chemical and phosphorus materials that ignite upon contact with oxygen and air. And these are materials that civilians or protesters would never possess. These are manufactured only by intelligence agencies and armies. The perpetrators were in fast cars with precise maps of foreign shops and did not touch the Egyptian shops. This is destruction engineering, not popular anger, as President Gamal Abdel Nasser said at the inauguration of the National Assembly in the year 1960. He spoke about the fire and said, "If you remember, the Cairo fire was the first sign of the social revolution against the corrupt conditions. The Cairo fire is a popular expression of the Egyptian people's discontent with the exploitation, monopoly, and capital accumulation that Egypt was suffering from." But of course, the secret was revealed when the British National Archives in London released its secret documents after 50 years had passed since the incident. These documents revealed that the British intelligence agency, in collaboration with traitorous and infiltrated elements within some Egyptian security agencies, orchestrated that day precisely under the name of the emergency plan to protect foreign nationals. Britain was terrified of the armed struggle of the Fedayeen in the Canal Zone, and they wanted to cover up the scandal of the Ismailia massacre they committed against the Egyptian police and create widespread chaos to justify the entry of the British Army from the canal to Cairo under the pretext of protecting foreigners. And more dangerously, they planned to cut off all communications and withdraw the fire and police forces on that day deliberately so that the fire would consume downtown, undermining the popularity of the Wafd government and the king together, and distracting the people with their calamity instead of fighting the British in the canal. The plan succeeded precisely and the country was shut down. The British covered up their crime and blamed it on the national forces. In history books, the book The Cairo Fire by historian and journalist Gamal Badawi uncovered the threads of the conspiracy and documented the innocence of the national forces and the king from the actual planning. The memoirs of the leaders of the Wafd party like, for example, Fuad Soror Eldin, the Minister of Interior at that time, who explained how the movement of the police was restricted and communications were deliberately blocked on that day by infiltrated elements within the security apparatus affiliated with external entities to facilitate the spread of the fire and politically embarrass and besiege the government.
Wait for me in another historical lie.